of TCS, the founder chairman of TCS, the FC Kohli sir. And under his aegis guidance as the BOG chairman, the board of governors chairman, and as a director of Sahasrabudhe sir, it has been found that a lot much of transformations have been happened in this institution. And we can see that here, the POs of a particular program, and these POs of particular program are being concerned with the 5 mission statements. And these 5 mission statements have been found like this: competency, and then it's continuous learning and research, innovation, teamwork, leadership, and then our entrepreneurship, what we can say. Then it's the collaboration, ethical and social values. Like this here, they want to see their graduates to take up their task. So how the PO is going to be? So the PO is going to be, the first PO says, to create graduates with sufficient capabilities in computer engineering who can become researchers, entrepreneurs, software professionals. So the 3 people you're talking about. Then next, satisfy needs of the core industry, research, and academia. And academia, and not aid, it is and society at large. So except the ethical and social values, there is a mapping. So high level mapping, at the same time the collaboration is a moderate mapping. So until unless the moderation collaboration is not possible, the entrepreneurship cannot be done. Then it comes the PO2, the opportunity to learn the latest trends in computer engineering and prepare for lifelong learning process. So here the competency is not that much considered here, because the latest trends in the computer science and preparing for lifelong learning. So the lifelong learning is considered to be high here, and they should have a competency with respect to a low level in the teamwork as well as the innovation and leadership. Then next comes to make the students aware of professional ethics of the software industry and prepare them with basic soft skills. That means, so they need to be given, if the student is from disadvantaged groups, or the students having so low academic profiles, but still then they want to make their graduates to get a job. So they want to make them to prepare for that. So to make the students aware of professional ethics of the software industry and prepare them with basic soft skills, whatever has been essential for working in community and professional teams. So that's also been considered here. So like this here, we can have the more mapping to be incorporated. We can avoid the dashes and let us see that some mapping being generated. So if we can have that, then definitely it has a greater advantage. So here is another example, and it is also from one of the best deemed universities in India, and where we have, it is from electronics and communication engineering. They have the 4 PEOs, and so their mission statements are focusing on different aspects. So like others, they focused on competency. Now they are not used the word competency. They have used a very refined set of words: state of art knowledge. So the state of art knowledge indicates that very structured, standardized, acceptable to the societies, to the industry. So such kind of, in that cases only we'll say state of art knowledge. So just imparting knowledge is different, and the knowledge that is really mandated to the stakeholders. So that is what they are going to talk about. So here the PO1 is to make students competent for professional career in electronics and allied fields. So the state of art knowledge, high. And then creative innovation, moral, ethical values, they consider it high. And then it's a value-based education, social requirements, high. So because they are making competent in a holistic way, like that they are mapping. So that means they are having a particular footprint to see that their students are really the global engineers. They want to have the global graduates, and they can work anywhere seamlessly. And the next, similarly, the PO2, so medium, medium, and low. PO3, if you see, low, high, high, high. And then it's PO4. So the first one is high, and there is no mapping possible with the creativity innovation, because the strong fundamental knowledge against the students pursue higher education and continual professional development. So here the creativity, innovation, moral, and ethical values never comes into picture. That's the reason why they consider as dash. And when it comes to M3, it is having a moderate mapping here. So like this here, we have to check our mapping. So here, one thing we can observe. So this is the PO that we drafted, and comparing with, that means we are identifying the strength of PO with our mission statements, the department mission statements. And to make ourselves more stronger, and to see that our statements are very perfect, so it is advisable to work at this level also. So that is institution mission statement. Because while discussing about the department mission statements, while sharing our views about the department mission statements, we have seen that the department mission statement should be in line with the institutional mission statement. So the POs of the program, they need to be somehow to be mapped with the institution mission statement. For the same program we consider, and how this is being mapped with the institution mission statements. So if you see the department mission statement here, at some level, we are unable to have the no mapping for M2. PE4 is nowhere mapped with M2. But here, okay, fine. So in certain cases, it will happen. But when it comes to the institution level, all the PEOs are mapped with the mission statements of the program. So that means here somehow either high or medium, that means moderate or low, somewhere it is been. Or we can keep 1, 2, 3, 1 for low and the 2 for moderate and H for, so the 3 for high. So, or you can take LMH. So whichever is comfortable for you, you can take that mechanism can be followed. But here we have to see that that means it indicates that the department mission statements are in line with the institution mission statements. If they are not in line, definitely this mapping is not possible. So this makes us to stand ourselves very strong, confidently that so there is a great level of possibility that we are having with respect to the POs that we drafted by taking the POs, and the next we have the mission statements that we considered with the help of the keywords that we are used in the drafting of the such statements. And then next here, there is another mechanism I would like to share here. Sometimes in some institutions, the students, the faculty who are working are very new, but still because of their high energy levels, they want to have the OBU to be adopted. The management is interested, the department is also interested, and it has a the students also brought many laurels to the department in that particular program. So definitely eligibility is met and the laurels are available with the institution in different aspects, and the faculty are contributing, and the management is interested, then automatically, though the faculty are very angry, they are interested in making their program to be accredited by NBA. So in such cases, when they start working with the drafting of PEOs, so all this lacuna will comes into picture, definitely we'll do that. But when drafting the statements and the next going with the mapping of these statements with the PEOs, there is a mismatch that is going to exist. In such cases, though it is not formally accepted, we can do something to make a program. So that means here the PEOs are serving the basis for us here. So at the end of the day, the program outcomes has to be attained at any cost. So if a graduate is able to attain these attributes, then definitely that particular engineering graduate is a successful engineering graduate. So that's what we can say here. So that means here, if we can combine, so in total we have 12 statements were available. So if we can combine these 12 statements in such a way that so we can have the PEOs of either 3 or 4 in number. So then automatically it is a great job for us. So let us wrap them. So let us combine them. So 1, 2, 3. We can talk about 4. First 4, we can make them as one PEO. Fine. So one PEO is good. So accordingly, considering the engineering knowledge, the problem analysis, the design skills, and the capability of conducting investigations, all the 4 combined together to form as one PEO. So automatically this PEO is getting mapped with the PEOs that we have here. And we cannot constrain ourselves only to the 4 PEOs. If necessary, we can combine more. So there is no hesitation. We can come based upon the available infrastructure, the vicinity, the surroundings, and then the community that we have, the support that you're getting from the community, the stakeholders' expectations, considering all, based upon that. So the POs of one institutions may not be same with the other institution because their needs are different, their requirements are different, their present scenarios are different. So in such case here, definitely we can make these engineering graduate, so the graduate attributes be combined together and based upon your requirements that have been, so your SWOT analysis will help you in finding that. And once we have that, the feedbacks collected from the stakeholders, all combined together, we can come to a conclusion. We can combine these particular attributes as statement, and that statement becomes one PEO. Like that, you can form either 3 or 4 PEOs. So this is another mechanism that we can follow in drafting the PEOs. Once the PEOs are being drafted, then automatically we can start mapping with how they are being mapped with the department mission statement. And then next we can cross check with our institution mission statement. Fine. So if they have a proper, on an average, if you are able to have a good mapping, so definitely the work that you have been rendered on defining the POs, on the POs and the mission statements that you have, everything are going to be in line. It's a great job. Then next year, the next part that comes is, okay, fine. So we have defined all the POs, the PO statements have been accepted. Fine. So what is the next step? The next step that comes into picture is we need to work on with what actually these graduate attributes are. So there is an essential, actually we are not going to do anything with the graduate attributes. We are going to talk with only the program outcomes, because we are not going with ABET, we are going with the NBA, or we can go with the NAC. So in that particular case, the program outcomes are ours. But here, the NBA program outcomes are in toto with the ABET outcomes with a small change. So when you look at the graduate attributes of the ABET and the NBA program outcome, so with respect to GA1 and P1, more or less they are same, but they have a knowledge profile that you are talking about, which we don't consider here. But still, in our mission statement, we will take care of it. Then next year, the problem analysis, it is a GA2, it is wrongly typed PO2, I will correct it. So it is a GA2. It talks about the problem analysis, and the PO2 ours is also going to talk about the problem analysis, and the statements are very similar here. Similarly, if you go with the GA3, the same scenario, designing a complex problems, nothing more, there is no big difference that we can observe here. So that means more or less both are the same. Then next, the investigation. So conducting investigations. Here, there is a little more statement change that we can observe here. Conduct investigation of complex problems using research-based knowledge and research methods, including design of experiments, analysis, interpretation of the data, synthesis, everything is there. But now here we are going to talk about use research-based knowledge and research methods, including design. So conducting of, so here this become an inherent top consideration here. So conduct of complex investigations. So that means the statement has been moved here. So a small kind of English-based change that is being considered. And then next, if you go with the model tool usage, almost same here. And the engineer in the society, both are the same. Except in case of engineering graduate attribute, the complex engineering problem, the statement, the complex which you're talking about, that is not being considered in when it comes for the PO6. And then next, in other cases, like environmental sustainability, both are the same. And the ethics we are talking about, ethics also, both more or less both are the same. And the next, individual and the teamwork, the communication, then project management, finance and lifelong learning, as well as the life. So in all these cases, and in only few scenarios only, our PO statement is a little bit modified, and the meaning is not missed, but here inherently it has been incorporated, or it has been just, we need to consider that meaning inherently. That means if you are reached to the particular level, that means that already you achieved something. We are looking for aiming high. So there is no necessity for it. When you are aiming that particular place, that means that we have already reached this particular step. Like that, you have to consider. Now here, once we have, sometimes here what happens is, so some institutions will feel that they don't want to follow the POs that are being given by the NPA. So based upon the local needs, they want to have their own POs. The POs are being redefined to their needs and to their requirements. In such cases, how to justify that our program outcomes? That means if you want to make our engineers to be global engineers, definitely you have to follow the graduate attributes. There is no other chance for us. We have to follow that. So if you want to follow it, so definitely our POs, somehow they have to get mapped with our graduate attributes. So it is advisable to have this particular matrix to be built to look for the mapping. So that means we have the graduate attributes and as form of the rows, and you can have your program outcomes, whatever been identified. So if you follow the NBA POs, you don't have any problem. But if you don't follow the NBA POs, and if you redefine your own POs in such cases, so it will be essential for us to cross-check to what extent our graduates are able to deliver. So here, I need to mention from my side, that is, India is an Washington Accord signatory. That means that the institutions, the countries which are signed under Washington Accord, they claim that their students, their graduates are globally able to work, globally eligible to work in the various countries. So that means in Washington Accord, but to what extent it is accepted? So it may take some time, but still. So if any graduate from our institution is the BTech CSE from your institution, that the BTech CSE in your institution is already accredited. Now, the student who already who gets a certificate in that accredited program, so that student can be eligible to work anywhere in the world, and the competency levels will also be checked. So there is no special check is required. That means that normally when we have a student from non-accredited institution, non-accredited program, they need to be checked with the competency skills. But here, the student who has been getting graduated from an accredited program, so there is no necessity for them. They can be admitted into the higher education, or they can be recruited into any top companies or the research institutions like that. So that means here, there is a greater scope that you are going to generate. So all the countries are working with the Washington Accord. So as per the Washington Accord, here all the graduate attributes are mandatory. So whatever the program outcomes that we design, somehow the program outcomes has to be get mapped all these 12 graduate attributes. So that because of this, the complexity, the majority of the people will feel that we can have the NBA POs to be followed. Anyhow, we are going to get the POs that are going to be designed from the POs. So it's not a big problem for us in getting a mapping. So from that side, some kind of advantage what they are going to gain here. So this is what I would like to share with respect to the graduate attributes and the mapping of the POs. So once this job is completed, so that means here our POs are mapping with the graduate attributes. So sometimes if you take the management, sometimes the management or other professional courses like management and management programs, hotel management, architecture, if they talk about all, so they have that from their side also, they have their own accreditation bodies. So like engineering, they also have their accreditation board for pharmacy and all. So they do have their attributes. So from that attributes, they have to define their POs. Now, management institution a top management institution want to see that they want to make their program to be accredited by NBA. So if you want to make the program to be accredited by the NBA, so definitely fine. But here, how their POs and the POs has to be considered. So we have to look at the international accreditation bodies with which you are getting tied up with. So we have to see that particular combination we need to identify, and accordingly how to see that the mapping is existing. So I observed in management, in one management institution, that they have only 7 POs, and they use those 7 POs, and they are mapping their POs with the 7 POs. To what extent the 7 POs are sufficient? Globally, if you want to make our students to work, so the people who are working, the students or the graduates who are working in that country. So let us say a graduate from India who is graduated in MBA program here, and we want to see that that particular person is to work to render as a top manager in Canada. So the graduates in Canada should be able to accept the competency levels of our graduate, our postgraduate student. So if it is there, then definitely it is possible for them to work and they can work individually or the teams, and they can communicate efficiently. If the competency skills are missing, then it will be difficult for them. So that's the reason why I'm just talking about only knowledge. Apart from the knowledge, there are many other things we need to focus on. So the constituent bodies, whatever been there, we have to compare our program outcomes with the existing ones. So then only we can say that the broad acceptability will exist. So this is very important one which we need to follow. And I observed in Hyderabad earlier in 2014, like that, after 1 year of the OBE. So we observed that instead of why we need to copy, normally this is a kind of psychological situation that comes here. Why we need to copy the NBA POs only? Why don't we redefine them on our own terms? Yes, it's an excellent work. Why we need to stand on based upon the local needs and based upon the advantages that we have, we can redefine them. But still, whatever it is there, we have to see that they are being in line with the graduate attributes. So we need to cross-check this one. So nobody is going to ask this, but as ours, we are making our graduate engineers our global engineers. So from that particular perspective, so my advice is better to have this kind of mapping so that we can have. So anyhow, in our case, there is no mapping. Graduate attribute 1 is mapped with PO1, no doubt. Graduate attribute 7 is mapped with PO7. We don't have any problem. But the problem here is when we redefine them, we have to see that they have to be cross-checked with the graduate attributes. Then next, once the job of the POs are being completed, now we need to cross-check how the POs are being mapped with our PEOs. So which is a previous example. We have 4 PEO statements, and based upon our PEO statements, we need to check to what extent they are being getting mapped with the POs. So we have to see that. We have to see that they are being mapped the moderate or high, or sometimes they are going to be low. In every situation, it is not possible. So if you take PEO1, in the PEO1, we mostly focused on the knowledge. We talked about the problem solving skills. We talked about the analytical skills and the solving skills and complex problems and the usage of the tools. We mentioned many other things, the competence. But the thing here we don't talk about the environment and sustainability. Though it is not being considered, it is inherently been when you're practicing the standards. So when you follow the standards, then automatically the environment and the sustainability standards are going to be followed. Though it is not mentioned, but it has a low impact of it. So that's the reason why here it is considered as a low. In the remaining, they are having the moderate, moderate, and moderate. When it comes to PEO2, like this here, most of the things are focusing on low, 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 and the next medium, moderate, moderate, like this dimension. So this particular matrix is going to help us in understanding how our PEOs are getting mapped with the PEOs that we drafted. So if we adopt the PEOs given by the NBA, we don't have any problem. But if we have your own PEOs, then we have to cautiously address this particular issue. So we need more number of debates. We have to make the more people to involve in debating to what extent it is possible. The more the debates, the more clarity with respect to the concept that you're establishing. And so this is the perspective. And one minute, please. And I would like today, actually, I thought of, as per the plan, the discussion is with respect to the Bloom's taxonomy and the CEOs. And I felt that this is very important. That's the reason why I'm sharing this particular information. And allow me to some other things also. Though it is not that much of a great importance as we consider being the NBA, but here it is also equally important as a teacher. So when you are teaching the students, so we should have the thought of it. So to what extent they are going to use in their career, that's a different thing. The thought of it will definitely benefit us and making our student on the advantage side. And when you talk about, so in every case, we are talking about complex engineering problems. What is complex engineering problems we are talking about? So here, these cannot be solved without the deep engineering knowledge. So they cannot solve. A student who got 40% of the marks or 50% or what, forget about the marks, what the student has gained with the skill set. A regular skill set, people cannot solve this kind of problem. So definitely the top deep engineering knowledge is required, and the considered one or several of following characteristics. What are they? Deep theory-based knowledge of engineering fundamentals necessary in the discipline. It is mandate. Then next one is the specialized engineering knowledge. So just working with the fundamentals, no. So the 2B is a little bit refined here. So deep specialized engineering knowledge that provides the theoretical and the practical frameworks, not the knowledge. We are talking about the frameworks of engineering discipline. So here the complex problems are not just complex. The understanding is also very complex. And the knowledge that supports the engineering design in the specific area, it's also through the practice. Then next, the knowledge in engineering tools, the tools that are being available. So what are the standard tools that are being used currently? So those tools we need to adopt. Today, when we talk about, we are looking for some what we call open source tools, or adopting the open source tools is not a problem. What the industry accepts, what kind of standard we need to follow, and what kind of equipment that is been accepted to make our experiment or our design or our model be accepted. So appropriate tool must be used, and we can work, we can do some research, we can find, and we can have our own new tools be invented, not a problem. But here the thing is, to what extent we can work on this. Then next, the selected knowledge of the research literature on the discipline. So the research is inherent. So working with the complex problem mean that, so the research is an inherent attribute, inherent characteristics that is being involved. So without the research, it is not at all possible. That means here they have to do the literature survey. So without doing that, it's not possible. Some kind of research scope is always.
Hello.
Are you able to get the screen? I'm sorry, I lost the power at my side. The Wi-Fi is down. I'm back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
And I'm sharing this particular link so that we can ponder much more on this. So how we need, as a teacher, how we need to focus much more on. So here we are talking about, if we say the graduate attributes here, we are mentioning. So at every graduate attribute, you are talking about the knowledge profiles. So here, if you talk about the engineering knowledge here, it is specified in WK1 and WK4. What is WK1 and WK4? They are the knowledge profiles. So we should have a strong knowledge profile to be established. So what is WK knowledge profile? WK1 talks about, as per the Washington Accord. So a systematic theory-based understanding of natural sciences applicable to the discipline. So natural sciences is a part of it. Normally, we don't consider the natural sciences. In the current model curriculum given by the ACT, they are focusing on the natural sciences. Then is the conceptually based, the mathematics, numerical analysis, statistics. So in some majority of the engineering disciplines, this is not considered the statistics. But now it is being made mandate to have the statistics also be to be imparted to the students so that they can conduct the proper analysis and they can validate the results. So that statistics is the only tool that can help us in validating what we have done. Like this here, the systematic theory-based the formulation. Like, so there are different knowledge profiles. So we need to see that not only having a PO is sufficient, we have to see that inherently this is also our job. Nobody is going to question us. But here we have to see that these knowledge profiles should be accommodated, and we have to see that the student should be trained. Now we may raise one question, sir. Our curriculum is completely defined by the university. So what the best we can do? Fine. So the curriculum is defined by the institution. It is not at all a problem. But the what we can do is that we are going to conduct the analysis. What kind of analysis? If you want to make the certain topics are not available automatically as part of as a teacher, not will do. So as of now, actually I'm not I never thought of sharing this particular content to you, but I felt as Ramesh sir told yesterday, and right now also in the beginning words he mentioned, so our responsibility is much more. Then I thought, so just working on which the POs, the job is not completed. As a teacher, we have to see our graduate at a higher level. Though nobody is going to evaluate us, but as a teacher, if we can add this flavor also to the student, then definitely we can do the best. At the same time, the students can also achieve much more, and they can stand on a global front with their heads high. So that's the reason why I would like to share this information, and we have to see that this, and how can accommodate this one into the curriculum? Okay, it is not possible for us to accommodate in the curriculum because ours are affiliated institutions. We have to follow the curriculum given by the university. So we have the two options in such case. We are going to conduct the gap analysis. So why we are going to conduct the gap analysis? Because the students are imparted with the curriculum what we have, and the certain COs and POs are found to be deficient. So you have to improve the COs and POs and their availability levels. So how can you improve them? So to improve them, we are going to find some gaps in the curriculum. So these gaps are going to be the intercurriculum gaps or the intra-curriculum gaps. If they are intercurriculum gaps, then we can address them at the end of the syllabi. Once a particular course syllabus is completed, we can add some more content, which we'll call the content beyond syllabus. We can train the students so that that will be beneficial for them when they work in the professional front. And apart from there is no testing, nothing is going to happen. But as we want to see our student as a competent professional, that's the reason why we are imparting this content beyond syllabus, which is definitely going to help the students. And the next comes is the intra-curriculum gaps. Within the units itself, you will feel that when you want to start a particular unit, you feel that some concepts are found missing. But the understanding is, while designing the curriculum designers think that it is not mandatory, it is taught somewhere. But due to our student scenario, their academic background or the learning capabilities, we feel that that is not sufficient. In such case, what we will do is, so for the university students, it may be sufficient. For our students, it will not be sufficient. So definitely, we are going to find some intra-curriculum gaps. That means within the syllabi, within the units while teaching, we will feel certain content is found missing. It is essential to repeat, and we are going to include them, and we are going to deliver them to the best. So we are going to have our own knowledge profile to be maintained. So we cannot follow the ABET completely because we have our own constraints. And for us, in some other way, we can make this one to happen. So that's what I would like to ponder on. So similarly, you know, what the English complex engineering problem, that means we want to see our students to solve such a great level of works. So once they are being getting graduated, we need to see that this kind of problems to be identified. And if they can identify one complex problem, and that can be done in the form of a capstone project or the same year end, we will going to have the final project the BTech students are going to do. So in that final project, if you identify one complex engineering problem, and if you can focus on all these aspects, and if that one is decomposed into many number of small problems and given as a project, so at the end they can see a bigger version of it, and there is a possibility for us to have certain kind of innovation or something that or development of a product that we can see like this. Many other advancement. It's not going to happen in one day, but definitely it is going to happen in the near future. There is a possibility. We will start today. fine, we'll see that in the next coming 2 to 3 years, definitely it will be possible. When you are able to solve the complex engineering problem as their academic projects, so definitely the input, the output levels of the students are totally high. Their morals are very high. They can work. Though the student feel that I am not able to work, I am not getting good marks. We are not looking at the good marks. We are looking at the attainment levels of the students. So definitely the student has the greater advantage. So these are the points which I like to focus on today. I'm very sorry for having a deviation with the topic. Ramesh sir, you have to excuse me for today. Tomorrow definitely I'll be focused. I thought I can complete with half an hour like that. I can go with the Bloom's taxonomy and drafting COs, but so I felt this validation process is also equally important, and the teacher responsibility. Well, because if you want to make our students to get global front, so this kind of ideology the faculty has to imbibe themselves. Then only it is possible to say our students. We used to get phone calls, sir. The student who never looks at us, definitely one day, one night or one morning, or in the September 5th, I used to get calls. They will say, sir, we have a great college. I studied in this great college. They make calls from US. We used to get. So what we practice in the institution, we are doing it here. Nobody knows here. We are very proud of you, sir. We are very proud of our institution. Like this, not only myself, many faculty members get this kind of phone calls. So it creates a lot much of interest. It creates a lot much of that means here, as per the NBA, there is nothing. But beyond that, the knowledge profile that are just shown to you. So if this kind of curriculum, this also been added to the student, then definitely they feel very high and they will have a greater concern with the faculty and the institution from where they have been started. So with this, I would like to conclude for the day. And the next session, we will have the Bloom's taxonomy and all. Ramesh sir.
Sir.
Sir, Sunday, tomorrow is Sunday. We thought of having a...
Tell me, sir.
Sir, we thought of having some kind of workshop, some kind of work can be given to the faculty.
Tomorrow afternoon from 2 o'clock onwards, already we scheduled it, sir.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir. From 2 to?
2 to 4:30.
2 to 4:30. Okay, sir.
Minimum of 2.5 hours.
It's for everyone, sir? So
all people, sir.
All online, sir? Are they going to work? So what is the modus operandi for this?
So in this college, the organizing institution, they are keeping all faculty members in one lab.
Sir.
And the remaining participants outside of this SPCN, they are utilizing their resources, what they are having at their home. Okay. So by using those things, they will participate.
We will ask them to present, sir, later, or let them be kept with their side.
Depends on them, sir, because after completion of tomorrow's session, in what way they are giving the feedback, based on that we will take.
Sure. Definitely. Thank you, sir. Nagmani, madam. Questions? Any questions
Sir,
from the participants?
thank you for the session, sir.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
So, any queries from the participants? So, please, if any, please ask now. So,
whatever they are having the questions and all that, and already we send the feedback forms also.
Sir.
In that, comment in that they will specify what they are and the doubts and everything. And that consolidated sheet I will send to you, sir, and you can clarify the things.
Definitely, sir. Thank you, sir. Very kind of.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
I'm requesting all participants.
So please, all the participants, please fill your feedback link. So thank you all. I'll intimate the time tomorrow, time through mail for tomorrow's session. Sir, thank you.
దీంట్లో మాట్లాడుతున్నారు రావాలన్నా ఫోన్ పరిస్థితి మాట్లాడబడుతుంది